So welcome back to the Sawmill, friends. Since I last saw you guys, I moved one more machine down here to the barn. Let me show you. So yesterday off camera, I went ahead and brought the log splitter down here. I got it set up here at the back of the building. There's still plenty of room in here. Got all this room behind it, all around it pretty much. And as I turn around, still have this big area right here in the middle between the edger and the sawmill and the log splitter, and the machines are stored on the lean-to, so there's still a ton of room in here. But I'm not sure if the log splitter will live down here or not. I haven't decided yet. What I'm thinking about doing is, at some point this fall, building a little shed over there, that grass area right there. That's where the logs are going to be stored at. Maybe put a little shed over there for the firewood. I don't know. Because if I leave it right there, it is a nice place to work in here, but all the bark and the wood chips and everything that come off the log splitter will go on the ground, and it will just make a mess. And it will be hard to clean up on top of that gravel. I don't know. But if I do decide to leave it down here, I'll probably pull it back 3 or 4 more feet and put the tongue right there on the edge of the building. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think I'm going to use it next week and kind of see how much bark and chips goes on the ground, and if I like that or if it's a mess or not. What would be ideal would be a little concrete pad poured underneath it. That way when it's time to clean, you just get a dust broom and just, sweep it out into a shovel, and there's your mess cleaned up right there. But concrete's kind of expensive. I talked about that in previous videos already. So the first thing I want to work on today is moving some logs down here from the old log yard to the new log yard right across the sawmill. I'll show you guys that here in just a second. But before we bring the first log down here, I've got an idea on how to keep my logs off the ground, better organized, and also make it look neater. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. The sawmill sits right here. I'm pretty happy with it in this position, although it could change, you never know. So this area right here, I own every bit of that. Over there to the fence line on the other side of the driveway that goes to my other house. This is where the logs are going to be stored at. It's going to make it really convenient because they're going to be right here at the sawmill. And when I get in deliveries from loggers and tree service guys, they can bring them right here and dump them. And I don't have to fool with them coming all the way up to my house. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm going to start my logs over there beside my equipment trailer and put them against the driveway, kind of in a circle, a little bit of a radius when I stack them in there. But I'm going to try to get them off the ground, and here's my plan. So up there in the log yard, I've got about 20,000 board feet, maybe more, of white pine. Most of it's pretty small, but they're nice and straight. So I'm going to take about a dozen of those, of the 12 footers or the 14 footers. I may have some 16 footers up there as well. I need to check on that. But I'm going to sacrifice a few of those and make them into 6x6s. We're going to burn them with the Wood-Mizer method. I know that's probably not the right way to pronounce that. Wood-Mizer, I don't know. But you guys know what I'm talking about, where you burn it to preserve it. So we're going to take about a dozen of those, make 6x6s. We're going to burn them. That will hopefully preserve them and make them last maybe 4 or 5 years down here on the ground. And stack my logs on top of them. Now guys, this is an experiment. When I mill these into 6x6s and after we burn them, I don't know how long they're going to last laying directly on the ground. I may take some flagstone and get them up a few inches. I've got plenty of flagstone. That might be a good idea. But other than that, and getting them up a few inches off the ground, I don't know if these timbers will last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I think they'll last at least 2 to 3 years. Long enough for me to get some use out of them, keeping logs off the ground, and then recycle them later on when I get in some small pines. And as they start to rot and deteriorate, we'll take them to the burn pile and replace them. Now this right here, guys, is something I've been thinking about for a long time. You guys have been on me for years about getting my logs off the ground. And it's not so much I'm wanting my logs off the ground, I just want them organized. I want it to look neat down here. And when you lay logs directly on the ground, grass and weeds grow up between them, and it looks like a mess. So hopefully by doing it this way, it will look neater and the logs will last a lot longer. And I'm thinking about making a big gravel driveway down here and putting the logs on top of the 6x6s on top of gravel. That way I won't have to weed eat or nothing around them. But right now with the price of gravel being $35 a ton, that might have to wait for just a bit. So the 5835 still has the grapple on it. I guess we'll use this one to go get some logs. Let's warm it up. All right, friends, up here at the log yard, this right here is going to be a good pile to find ourselves some sleepers in. Right here in the front, that's a yellow pine. It's probably about 16 feet long. There's another one right in front of it that would probably do good. See if we can grab these and pull them out of here. I don't want that maple or that poplar. But there's some good stuff in this pile. There's a lot of yellow pine. There's actually some hemlock buried in there as well. I'll save the hemlock for something better than sleepers though. If we can pull these two out, that'll get us started. If we can get them out of there without making a total mess of this little stack right here. You're better off pulling from the top, but I need that stuff on the bottom. All right, guys, I may have misspoke on this. I'm not sure if I told you guys this was white or yellow pine. Based on what I'm seeing on the bark right here on the bottom, it looks like yellow pine, but I could be wrong. As soon as we make an open and face cut, as long as there's not too much rot going on with this, we should be able to tell. This came from a tree service. I would never pay for a log like this unless it was green out of the forest. This came to me on a whole truckload of pine a few months ago. I think you guys saw it on this channel, and I didn't pay for it because it was just laying down in a log yard and it got forgot about, and it was too small for the big mill to fool with. That's how it ended up here. It's just over 12 feet in length, and I need a 6x6 out of this, an actual 6x6. I don't need nominal stuff. I need an actual 6x6 out of it. So I need to make sure we got at least 9 inches on the diameter on both sides, or at least on the small end, so we can get that 6x6. This log has kind of an oval shape to it. All right, we're 11 inches, 12 inches, good shape right there. I think the small end is on the operator's side. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this log kind of has a curve to it downhill right there just a little. That ain't good. We're looking at 10.5 inches right here, so we're good on the diameter. We need 9 inches, and we got 10 on the small end. I may have misspoke there, guys. Nominal size lumber is at the sawmill. So today we're sawing a 6x6, and it will be 6 inches by 6 inches. That's nominal size. Actual size is what you get at the hardware store or Lowe's or whatever, where you get a 4x4 and it's not actually a 4x4. That's nominal size, or that's actual size, I'm sorry. Nominal size is what I do here. I always get that backwards, it never fails. So we'll get a 6x6 out of this one. If there's some wane on the quarters, I could care less. So we should get a 6x6 out of this pine. If there's some wane on the corners, I'm not really concerned with that right now. We'll take this off the mill and put the other one on, then we'll burn them to preserve them a whole lot longer. And I think it's gonna work out pretty good. The only thing we could have go wrong right now is if this pine is opened up and there's a lot of rot in it. And that could be the case. It's hard to tell on the outside of this log. Looks terrible on the outside, but there may be one good 6x6 hiding in there, hopefully. And real fast on the sawmill, Joe Maine Silver Tip Turbo 7. If you want to try those blades out, call Joe Maine. His cell phone number is in the video description. right, guys, so we made 4 cuts on that log to get our 6x6, and we got about a full bucket here of sawdust. This isn't ideal, but man, it sure is better than scraping it off the floor. Now there's some of it still going on the floor, but it's nowhere near as much as I would have if I wasn't using this bucket. We'll get this figured out pretty soon though, guys, trust me. So here's the first one, friends. We're gonna call these log bunts. I guess since they're gonna be holding up logs, that's the best terminology for them. It turned out pretty good. This is yellow pine, and we got some blue stain right there. That's caused by the ambrosia beetle that gets in these pine logs once they sit around for a while. But actually, this made them more valuable. There's people that will pay good money for blue stained pine out there. A lot of people think it's just a rod. It's actually a good characteristic. I'm not a fan of it, but a lot of people like it. So this one is just over 12 foot, and I think it will be more than suitable for what we're going to use it for. A nice sacrificial 6x6. And I'll tell you what, guys, it's not in too bad a shape. I would sell this to somebody if I was taking an order for pine right now. It's not too bad. And something else here, guys, I need to add to this setup. I need some roller tables right here, or one long roller table. It sounds a lot better. And have it coming this way, kind of like a T off that table right there. And I can put my slabs on it, roll them off this ways, and let them fall directly onto the grapple. That would make things a whole lot easier. I wouldn't have to touch these slabs as much because they're heavy, even though it's pine. So if there's anybody out there with a roller table they're not using right now, they want to donate it to the sawmill, bring it on over and I'll buy your lunch. I'll buy it off of you. I ain't that cheap. But I definitely need one of those. That would make things a whole lot easier. My good buddy Robert Melton down at Hobby Hardwoods, he has the same setup. And something else I'd like to add here, friends, as far as this new building goes, I've not had the option of putting a log directly on top of the sawmill in a long time. I don't do it all the time, but man, that's nice. So now we'll take these slabs up to the burn pile, we'll grab another log, make another 6x6, and then we're gonna burn them. I know that don't make sense, but it will here in just a minute. You guys hang in there. All right, guys, here's the next log up on the mill. This is a yellow pine. It's a 16-footer. This is the longest log that I have sawed in a long time. Nice and straight, though. Check that out. If I had a truckload of these, I could make me a log cabin out of something like this. Now, I just need a 12-footer, which is what we already have over here. So, once we saw this up, I'll probably take 4 foot off of it and keep that for dunnage. But this log should be decent, no taper. The diameter, see if I can do this while holding the camera. Hopefully I don't drop you guys. The diameter down here is about 10.5 inches. I need 9 inches for a 6x6. Let's come down here. I doubt there's much taper in this log. 10 inches, so pretty good. Not much taper. The pith is not in the middle. Pretty low quality as far as the log goes, but for what we're using it for, this should be perfect. guys, I got one face done. If you're new to this channel, this right here is called Shoshujiban. I think I'm saying that right. It's a Japanese method to preserve wood. I've used it on this channel a whole lot in the past few years. Actually, my timber frame, I did this to the entire, not the entire, but most of the vents rather. Got this treatment. It turned out really well. Whether or not this makes it rot resistant, I don't know, but there's a lot of Japanese structures that have been around for hundreds of years that were treated like this, and they still look pretty good. So it's better than nothing. It's better than buying cross ties, put it that way. So when I do this, I don't make it extremely charred. Some guys will burn the surface to where they have to scrape it off with a brush. I think that's good enough for preserving the wood, although if you charred it more, it may work better. I don't know. Maybe somebody down in the comments knows more about this than me. They can let us know about the method that I'm doing today and whether or not this is the best way or not, but it's worked for me in the past. So we're going to do all four sides and the end grain on this one and that one. Then we'll take them over there and stack them side by side beside my trailer, and that's where we're going to put our first load of logs that we're moving down here. So let me get back on the propane torch and I will get this one finished up and the second one, and we'll move on to setting them up. And if you're interested in this torch, people always ask me. You can get these on Amazon and they are extremely cheap. I think this is my third one. The only thing about them is, see that little red button? That's an igniter. It never works, it seems like. It hardly ever works. You have to grab a match, or not a match, my goodness, a lighter, and light the end of it. But other than that, they work pretty good. And there's a link down below to my Amazon store. If you want to grab one, go pick it up. I use that in the garden all the time as well for burning weeds. So let's get back to the burning project here, and then we'll bring some logs down. All right, friends, so this is what we're going to go with here. There's your 12.5 foot long, and the spacing is 6 foot. It's fairly level right here. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for some logs to set on. I think we'll go ahead and grab some poplar, because I got more poplar than anything, to start bringing them down. What do you guys think? You think it looks all right? I think it'll work.